The AME Mousa. Let's talk about it. Now this is a 15 total driver, 13 BA, 2 bone conductor driver that costs $4,500 that a friend sent to me to review that I will be sending along to him shortly. Let's start by looking at the unboxing of this IEM and then we'll go from there. Now this is the unboxing of this IEM. You'll notice it's coming in shrink wrapped and we'll cut it open here real quick. I took off the sound because my house is kind of crazy at the moment and the sound quality wasn't great. But I mean, if you look at this thing, it just has this really great premium feel of the box. It's kind of heavy but not too heavy, and it feels great and weighty in hand. You'll notice it has this gold coin right here on the right, and it feels and looks really good. I like it. I like the faceplate design of these guys, and it kind of has this metallic-y card that comes with it. It's a really nice looking card, and it says AME on it. Now the drivers themselves, we'll be talking more about that later, but I mean, just the overall unboxing experience of them is, it's very premium. Like, you kind of pull this out and then you can get the drivers here out. And one of the first things you'll notice is that these IEMs are extremely weighty. They're extremely thick, and it's kind of an interesting thing just to sort of note about these. They are different. They do have unique faceplate designs, which I do like, especially in this scenario. Now, if we look at these, again, they're really beautiful, and this is kind of the case that it comes in. I believe this is kind of the case that it's designed to use on your desk. Now, this is kind of a cool case. It comes with, your tips, and the tips come on these little metallic things, and they kind of fall out here, which, isn't too great. But I mean, there's a nice set of, they're nice, and they look good and premium, and I like them a great deal. Now, if we look at the cable, it is an Elitech cable, which makes some of my favorite cases, and they do some really awesome work. I actually tried to buy some at CanJam, but they were not available. When they come out with their cases, they're legendary. You got to jump on them. They're like about $150, but they're just they're awesome. And they has a few other things like some accessories, a cable. It's not super exciting, but the the overall unboxing experience of this is super nice and super impressive. Now, some of the accessories, you do get this really nice little booties. There's a cable cinch, another card in here, and again, it's just a overall nice, pleasant unboxing experience. Extremely premium. We're not going to dive too deep into this since I'll be moving this along, but I did want to kind of give you a little bit of a preview, a little bit of an experience of what this unboxing experience is like, because it is a special and unique set, especially from the unboxing experience. And I find the unboxing experience to be exceedingly premium, exceedingly fun, and overall a great unboxing experience. Now, the IEM we are showing off on the left is my daily driver, the Elysian Acoustics Lab 2023 IEM. I really like this IEM. It's pretty fantastic, and I just kind of wanted to show this versus a premium style IEM. You'll notice that the shell of the Mousa is extremely large, but it's also very pretty and gorgeous. We'll get a close-up here of it here soon. I mean, you can tell, like, just the shell of it is big. It is a little bit hard, I think, for some to fit in ear. But in my ear, I don't have any fit problems with it. It's almost like it has this Damascus steel sort of a feel to it. And, like, the outside of it kind of has, the Mousa, gods of the Greeks of music, on there. The shell and everything feels and looks premium. It's exceedingly smooth and well built as you touch it and use it in ear. Really no problems with the shell, but it is massive and big. Now the cable itself, I mean, it's a funny cable. It's I like it. I think it's really pretty. It's not very thick. It's just kind of simple. I do like the terminals and the connections, but it doesn't have a chin slider, which for me can kind of means it's a little bit flappy sometimes. I mean, the ear hooks and everything about it, it is a nice cable. I think, if I had to guess what it would be or what I personally would pay for it, probably $300 to $400, if that. So let's talk the general sound quality of this guy. The bass is impactful and warm. The highs are dynamic and fun. I would call this kind of a warm, energizing set. It's hard for me to often find a good set that can do bass and kind of energizing high as well. It also can be a little bit fatiguing, and it feels almost like a classy V-shaped set that just looks and feels ultra premium. It's odd enough though, I mean, I do like V-shaped sets, and I find this as a capable all-arounder, but maybe not as clean and pristine on some parts. The vocals are full-bodied and fun. I would describe them as clean and crisp, and I would describe this as a very engaging IEM with extremely no sibilance, very little. And I find this great at high volumes. The cons of this IEM are that vocals do lack a certain sparkle that will be a miss for some. It can come across maybe a little bit dark for some. The shell is massive and heavy, and obviously the price. We're going to look at some graphs and then kind of go from there. Let's look at the graph of the Mousa. Now you'll notice the Mousa it hits the target in some ways, but it's a little bit off in other ways. It's one of those ones that sounds good to me in ear, but it doesn't sound pure and clean and neutral. I wanted to compare this to some of the other big boy IEMs I have, and and we'll kind of go from there. You'll kind of get a gist after we talk about these sets of comparisons that we have. Now, if you look at this normalized at around 500, you'll notice that has a fair amount of bass, but it kind of has this tuck around 1K, and then a lot of energy from this 4 to 6K, which is a region I am sometimes sensitive to. On this set, it sounds fun and engaging, and it doesn't really bother me, but it's also not something that I would fully want to listen to for more than 6 or 7 hours. This is a fun set. This is an engaging set. This is a set that's like it's almost the same price as the Storm, but it's something that doesn't go for neutral by any means. Again, warm and engaging or energizing is kind of a good way to describe this guy if you want to talk about it. Let's look at the only other AME that I have got to review on channel is the AME Raven, the KR edition, the Korean edition. You'll notice that this, when we normalize here, it has way more bass. To my ears, it has way more bass. It also has an extreme amount of treble here. I mean, I like the Raven, but it just felt kind of neutral, not exceedingly fun. I kind of find myself sensitive to 1K. And so as we flip the switch and this becomes less sensitive to 1K, I find that a positive thing. The tonalities of these two are very different. They're nothing like each other. So I think if you are a fan of the Raven, you're looking for this. This is a different set altogether on so many levels. The Raven, while not super neutral, I would describe it a little bit more like neutral or like a soundstage drama queen almost in some ways, whereas the Mousa is just thick, rich, warm, exciting, different, and it does some things exceedingly well and very fun. Now if we look at something like the Camper, the 622B, now I like the Camper, and I find that like the treble of the Camper comes across slightly dark. For me, the Mousa, like just this treble, we're just talking how it sounds in my ear, not how the graph is. That's a different thing. And I liked the Camper. I thought it was a good IEM, but I also found that it just kind of didn't work that well for my ear canal, and it just felt super dark and not a lot of air and sparkles. The Mousa doesn't feel that way to me. It feels fun, engaging. The note weight, just the slam of it, hits really well, and it feels like things are engaging from the get-go. I really like it, and I think the Mousa does some fantastic things, especially on pianos and instrumentals. and I love it a great deal. Now, another favorite of mine is the Fei 1. And the owner who's sending me this has also sent me the Fei 1 not too long ago, and that's their daily driver. So what I think is kind of how close and how similar these two are. I really think that they're going to like it. So I think if you're a fan of the Fei 1, this might be for you. Again, a little bit more bass, you know. The Fei 1 has a little bit more of this 2K region. So a little bit more of that detailed and sparkly treble adds kind of this magic feeling to it. You know, I like the Fei 1. The Fei 1's one of my, I wouldn't say favorite, but it does something to certain tracks in my music that I absolutely love, and I think it does something special. But I do think that these, even though their graphs look slightly similar, I think these Foley are different enough and sound different enough, where the Fei 1 just is like the timbre king, queen, and emperor of the world, and just has this uniqueness to the timbre, especially in some classical music. It does that amazingly, whereas the Mousa just thumps. It just hits hard, and when you put it in ear, it just feels so natural and so invigorating to have like that level of bass. And I think part of it is the bone conductor driver that's doing its magic, and that beautiful shell. So good, so different, very complimentary, and I think they're really gonna like it. If you look at something like the Fat Frequency Grand Maestro, now the Grand Maestro has problems for me, a little bit in fit, a little bit in taking out all the modules, but if you look at these two, they're kind of different. The Mousa is a little bit more warm. The Grand Maestro is a little bit more of a kind of a neutral IEM that can do a lot of different things, that has great exaggerated sub bass and is a nice set overall. Again, if you're looking for a neutral set, the Grand Maestro is gonna be your bag. If you're looking for something a little bit more colored that will do certain tracks really, really well and can act as an all-arounder, I do think the Mousa is a possible winner. Again, it is not a neutral set, but it's one of those ones that can act as a neutral set. The Grand Maestro has the problem, you know, I mean, if you look at this, here's the black down, here's the blue up, here's the blue down. I mean, there's all different kinds of approaches, and it really just changes kind of that level of the bass there. And so I guess the problem I'm trying to say with the Grand Maestro is almost like the burden of choice. And that's kind of my fault. It's like I would rather own 3 sets and be able to switch between the sets readily, and each one to have their own characteristic and identity, than having one set that can do it all. I just find that one set doing it all just doesn't give me exactly what I want, and it's cumbersome to have to change out the modules, and this dip switches will kind of on occasion for me would hit up or down, and it just, you know, it wasn't terrible, it just wasn't for me. What I wanted to show you is the Annihilator. You'll notice a few things about the Annihilator. A little bit more rich treble, a little bit, you know, some similar characteristics, but one of the big things you'll notice is this region here and this flopper region here, and I find that it gives me a good detail, and it feels like a more treble sensitive set, whereas the Mousa feels like almost just like a boomy engaging set. For me, the Annihilator is a better all-arounder, and I really enjoy the treble of it and just the overall kind of neutralish presentation of the Annihilator, whereas the Mousa feels a little bit on that flavored side, but still is an acceptable all-arounder for me for most of my music. One thing I did want to share with you is the Kiwi Ears 4. Now, I got to demo the Storm, and the Storm and the Kiwi Ears 4 kind of graph a little bit similarly in that they're very neutral sets, kind of that meta tuning. And I think it's interesting how, like, you know, they're just different. Like, I think there's a lot of IEMs that are going for a good neutral set, and that's hard to pull off. The Mousa isn't a neutral set. Something like the KE4, if you're looking for something that's like a beater set that sounds really good, I think the Kiwi Ears 4 is a really good set that sounds good, that I think people are going to enjoy. It's not perfect, but it's super enjoyable and super nice. And I think it's something to consider if you're looking for a neutral set at a much cheaper price. And I think it's interesting to note on how many different areas, you know, the Mousa is a little bit different, but also kind of similar in certain regards as well. Okay, let's rank this guy up. I really like the Mousa. To me, it's an exceptional set. It's beautiful. It does something different and unique, and I really enjoy what it does to my music. I find it fully enjoyable. It is a little bit of a specialist. I do think there's other sets out there that are a little bit more neutral, and that, you know, something like the KE4 or the Storm, I think might be a little bit of a better neutral set. But something like this, it does some special things, right? Like it has fantastic bass. I think it's mids like that, you know, the 4 to 6K region is kind of why I deemed the mids region. But the highs are also crisp and clear and sparkly and detailed. It images well. It has fantastic note weight and just soundstage, and it just feels invigorating and visceral when you listen to it. It's a lot of fun. It's a beautiful set. But is this set one of those ones that people need to buy immediately? I mean, the price of it is so expensive. I think you could look at my ranking list and find other IEMs that would be appropriate. But what it is a special, beautiful set that I've really enjoyed unpacking and spending time with. The Mousa is a beautiful endgame set that I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy. It takes neutrality and kind of throws it out the door and goes for a fun, engaging presentation. If you want a one and done set, there's other ones that I could recommend that I think might be a little bit more neutral, a little bit more acceptable to most. If you want something special, unique, I think that's what this market is for. This isn't for people that don't like these sets. This isn't for people that don't have a lot of money to spend. This isn't for people that like warm, bassy sets. This is for people that want something a little bit different, a little bit special, and that does their music in a very unique but awesome and amazing way. It's always a treasure to review and check out IEMs like this, and I think this is a special set, and it gets a recommendation for those people that have this kind of money and that want to give it a go. It is a big and large shelled IEM, so again, I would recommend you guys to take a minute and go to a show and demo it first before you buy it, because it can be a little bit fatiguing as the shell is large, but I didn't have any problems myself. But again, I use a lot of IEMs, so I'm a little bit of a nut in that regards. Thanks for watching my video to the end. If you guys have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below, and I hope you guys have a great day. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?